a Ventoy USB stick, which is Samsung flash drive, and then frugally installed into an internal hard drive on my UEFI PC. So I'm going to boot into the USB Ventoy drive now, and I have several Linux distributions, but this is the PuppyLinux F96-CE4 that we'll be using to install into the hard drive, and we'll boot from the Ventoy USB stick. So enter, and then we will only be using it this to install, so we don't really need the pub save at all. RAM only is fine. It'll take a minute to go ahead and load up into the RAM. This is again PuppyLinux Forza Pup variant F96-CE4. So it's all loaded up now, so I'm going to use my keyboard Alt F4 to close this, and also Alt F4 again to close. And you can see that this is a Ventoy drive here, and then this is a single internal hard drive that has 3 partitions. We're gonna wipe this out, so to get ready to install PuppyLinux. So we'll go ahead and right click, go to the systems, we'll go gparted, and this is the internal hard drive. You can see that it already has some partitions in it. What we'll need to do is wipe it out. So right now you won't let you create a new partition table, because this is a swap partition is active. So we'll just right click on it and then swap off. That way we can completely wipe out the internal hard drive. So we'll go to the device, create partition table, and because this is a UEFI, we have to, table type should be GPT right here. And then we're gonna apply, and it's gonna wipe it all out. So this is 250 gigabyte of internal hard drive space. So first thing what we have to do now is we'll go ahead and we'll have to create a boot partition, grub, and this first partition, 300 megabyte is fine. So this should be in FAT32. We'll give it a label of EFI. This is where the grub configuration file will go. So add. Next is where we're gonna put the puppy files. So we'll just give it a label of pups, and then today we'll only be installing CE4, but for the future you may later on want to add more pups. So we'll just give it a about 5 gig is more than enough. You can install several PuppyLinux. So well, we give it a 7 gig, or a little over 7 gig. So pups is fine. And then next we'll go ahead and make a save partition, and because save partition 20 gig should be plenty for even several puppy save folders. So we'll give it a roughly 20, 21, and then ext4 is fine, and we'll label it SAV, save partition, this capital SAV, and we're gonna add. And then now we'll go ahead and create a swap partition at the end. So this is so big that we're not gonna use most of the hard drive. So we'll just go ahead and make a size of roughly 8 to 9 gig is fine. So this will be Linux swap, and PuppyLinux really doesn't need any more swap at all if you have generally more than 4 gig of RAM. So, but we'll go ahead and give it a little bit of swap space, and then we're going to apply the applications. We're going to apply the partitions, and then that's done. And now we'll have to go back to the first partition and make it manage. We need this so we can install a bootloader. So we're gonna just click on ESP, and it should take care of the clicking on the ticking on the boot, and this is fine. And then this is all pretty much done. So now we will go ahead and install the appropriate files into the Puppy partition, which is 2. So we'll go ahead and right click, set up, and we're going to use Frugal Pup, Flexible Frugal Installer, and then we'll go to the settings. We're going to take the separate save partition location and use autosave, and then OK. Well, I'll just use the keyboard ALTO, and then we're going to go ahead and now start installing Puppy, and we're just going to install CE here into into the 2, so partition 2. OK again, and we're gonna put it in partition 2. OK, and then we're gonna create a folder just on a chance that you in the future may want to add another PuppyLinux. So we'll just go ahead and separate it and create a folder, and we'll just name it CE, and then make sure that you put it after CE, you want to enter return first, and then you want to say OK. And then now you want to know where a save folder should be placed. So we're gonna go ahead and make sure that it gets placed in the third partition, capital SAB. And then we're also gonna make a separate folder, small letter save, and then enter, and then OK. Now we're gonna continue, and it's putting the correct files in the CE folder in the second partition. That's already done. Now, since the one Puppy Linux is installed, we're gonna make a grub, and then the second partition is where the Puppy install is, so it's already correct. And CE is also correct. And then it wants to know where the boot partition, the grub, should be placed, and it's the first partition here is where we're gonna put the grub. OK, and then it's going to, this is a 64-bit machine, so this is fine. And then let it do its thing, and it's already placed. So that's all done. So the grub is done. So let's just take a peek at the first partition where the grub is. We're gonna right click and grab CFG, take a brief look, and then menu entry. So we will, this is just for my habit, I just put in CE here, and everything else is done. We'll close everything and reboot. This time when we reboot, we don't want to save anything because this is just the installation Ventoy. So, and then we don't want to save anything, no. And then let it reboot, and at the same time I'll pull out the USB Ventoy stick out because we want it to boot from the internal hard drive Puppy partition. So this is now running from internal hard drive, and then you can see that I made it to CE as the only PuppyLinux install. So we'll just go ahead and enter. So now it's the quick setup screen. So we'll just go down here and I'll just down arrow into America, Los Angeles. Here is Los Angeles. Firewall enabled, time from internet is fine. Everything else looks good. And then okay. And then firewall setup is fine. And I'm connected using the Ethernet already, but so we'll go ahead and synchronize clock at each time to start up so that keeps the time correct. And then, so if you have a Wi-Fi, you're gonna have to click here and go ahead and set up the Wi-Fi, but I have Ethernet already. So I'm just gonna go to the setup and set the sound. I have 2 sound card and one of them needs to be disabled. So this is second one I don't need. So off. We'll just use the sound card from a USB audio card that's in here. So that's done. Quit. And Alt F4, quit again. Now we're ready to reboot with the first save folder. So if everything is set up correctly, we should have a new save folder here in third partition after we reboot. So we're gonna go ahead and leave. Reboot, this time we're gonna save. So this is, so it looks good, saving session in the I saw briefly. So now if everything is done correctly, we should not be seeing, so CE, enter, we should not be seeing the quick setup screen again. So this first time it loads the save folder, it'll take slightly longer, but after that, it's pretty quick. Okay, so now you can see that quick setup we don't need, so it's already loaded up the save folder, and you can tell the third partition where the save folder is, it's already mounted. So now what you can go ahead and proceed on to adding whatever the softwares you may need. But this is basically the steps you need to go through to properly install a frugal hard drive install in PuppyLinux. In my case,